Are we seeing a trigger for all-time highs starting to wade into Ethereum after a Bitcoin boom? Today we'll break it down for you. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into the show. Let's get into it. I do want to thank our sponsor, and that's Uphold. This is where you guys can go out there. And the cool thing about getting started on Uphold to do your crypto trading is they go out and get the best price for you. And that's a very good feature when you're looking at fees and all that kind of stuff when you're trading. Getting the best price on it is a very important thing. The other thing that they do that is kind of unique is they get involved a lot in staking. So you can also stake a ton of assets over there, including Cosmos. You've got Injective in there. Solana still earning 6.5%, 6.8 near protocol. So as you can see, a lot of assets where you can really go out there and start earning some yields. Check it out. Use our link down below to get some additional discounts. All right, I want to bring in the master himself, the man who called this boom for July, Mr. Evan Aldo. How are you?
Doing fantastic, Paul. Great to be on. Thanks so much.
Yeah, nice seeing you. Hey, we got to show your channel off here. Evan Aldo, right there on YouTube. You'll be able to find him. Let's get this guy over 20,000 subs. We have got to do it. So hit the subscribe button if you're not already one right now. Help him out right there. If you will see, he's calling for a $3,200 Ethereum. And if you go over here to his videos, he had this back 9 days ago saying, guess what? The case for a bullish July. I like that one. Well, we're going to talk about all that, Evan. Let's go over to this tweet right here. Kobeisi kind of hitting up, of course, Bitcoin up 60% in 3 months. USD seems like it's a bit broken. We'll look at the Dixie. Gold prices rising. Treasury yields are looking like they're rising around deficit spending. This is an issue that is really going to put a lot on the plate of risk assets. And I think this is all going forward. Outside of the shorts being liquidated, Evan, was there anything that you feel was this is the catalyst of what's driving Bitcoin right now?
Oh man, I think it's just where we are kind of in the cycle and in the anticipation of rate cuts and just kind of, from a technical perspective, it just looked good. You had rare bullish signs on Ethereum on the monthly chart, rare bullish signs all over and good for continuation. So, I think that June would have been more like this if you didn't have Iran. So this is kind of just a delayed version of what June should have been, I think.
Interesting. I'm still in the camp that this is not necessarily the same as cycles in the past, but I look at one of the key indicators right here. This is the influence factor for me, and that is these ETFs. Now we're seeing record levels. I think BlackRock hit a level, I think I've got a tweet on it, a level that they've never achieved in the short period of time in which this ETF has been launched. And of course, you saw right here. The key here with an ETF like IBIT is that it is a signal post, a soundboard to the rest of the industry, including, remember, a lot of these finance managers and money managers that are now, I'm getting phone calls from them, that are saying, we're looking at Bitcoin a little bit stronger. They're not asking when to buy, they're asking for how much allocation, should they put in. That is a big signal going forward. And of course, you look at this right here, Bitcoin up 55% since April, hitting a record, and the Dixie down. When you look at your chart on Bitcoin, are we going to see a retracement after this 118, or do you feel like this is just going to be a continuation into this run?
So I think we got at least a little bit more before we see. I mean, the closest place to right now that I would see a rejection is probably around your 120, which would be right here. We're approaching it. I don't have anything too extremely strong at 118. Yeah, we're dilly-dallying a little bit of consolidation, but I think inevitably you should get up to that 120, 122 area within the next few weeks. I would say the highest that I would see us going would be probably mid-August up to 130, but what I'm kind of thinking here, could be wrong, but what I'm kind of thinking here is you may see a little bit a slow move upward while you see a lot of action from Ethereum and alts that outperform, especially your Solana that we'll talk about, a lot of these alts, that'll probably outperform Bitcoin into the end of the year for the next, 5-6 months here. So I think you may see some consolidation here. High end for July would be 130, kind of low end would be that 120 to 122 mark. So yeah.
If that is the case, then you have to look at dominance real quick, because Bitcoin dominance, if you go over here on the 4 hour, it clipped up right there. What was that? June 25th. June 26th. Right there, what was that? 65.91%. And of course, now it's down at 64. So what do you think? I'll go to the daily chart here. What do you think about this Bitcoin dominance, a little bit of this trend down? What are your thoughts?
It's very good for alts. It's what we're expecting. And if we look at our Bitcoin dominance chart right here, it looks some rare bearish signs right here. Let me just get it up here. And, you're coming down quite a bit. And you look at just previous cycles right here, the last time it happened. I mean, we're obviously quite a bit delayed from January 21 in the four-year cycle, but 47% drop down. I think we should be able to drop down at least 27% into the end of the year for a nice altcoin season. So I think generally alts should outperform Bitcoin into the end of the year. I think that Ethereum will outperform most alts for the next couple of months. But when you see that QT end, when you see those next rate cuts, that'll really be the catalyst here. So, it looks really bearish overall, very overheated, very bearish right now.
I like it. Well, I think the point here is, managing these cycles, and it's not, I won't say cycles, you're looking at a lot of the narratives that are driving much of the market. Obviously, we see the macro side of things. We're seeing what's happening in the markets in general at the S&P, which is after its all-time high yesterday. Plus you have, IBIT doing these kind of numbers, which is crazy. And I mentioned this earlier, 80 billion mark last night. This is the fastest ETF to get there in 374 days. The fastest ETF. That's of all ETFs out there. So that goes back to my point of a signaler for the market to kind of release the Kraken, so to speak, of a lot of these, these investors that have maybe been sitting on the sideline, because there's a lot of money market money out there for sure. All right, well, we got to talk about ETH, and ETH holding its own after a couple of 3 days of nice positive inflows on the ETH ETF. When you look at the ETH ETF and you also follow along with Crypto Week happening, the Clarity Act is most likely coming at least to a discussion next week, the likelihood of getting Genius Act through next week, that's going to be a stable coin. And then, of course, you've got BlackRock just buying more ETH than Bitcoin. All of this getting interesting, Evan. All of this timing is perfect for Ethereum. So tell me about Ethereum on the chart.
Well, I think it's ETH season, and let's pull up the chart right here. And when we look at that, let's get up to Ethereum right here. So a little bit of consolidation where we're hitting right now. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem breaking above 3,000. I think you're going to do some of this continuation like you saw over here, and then you do the same thing here. You probably repeat something like this, break upward. Our next big point is 3,200. You can get there some as early as tomorrow, as late as the end of the month. It's hard to exactly say, but I do think that I would remain more optimistic because you got this monthly rare bullish sign right here, a little sugar wave. The last time we had that happen, the last time that we had that happen here, we had a giant kind of jump up. So if you're comparing it like that, that's enough to get us up to almost 6,000. So you're looking at hopefully a new all-time high easily by end of year, and then just a few months here. So in terms of what I think would happen with this market, you're going to keep going up for most of this month. My high for the month into early August would be 4,000. I know that's high. I don't know if we're going to get there. But then after that, I think you're going to see a little bit of a sell-off in anticipation of the next kind of rate cut around maybe end of August, sometime in September. Some type of pullback, get everybody afraid again, and your last rally upward kind of in Q4 into the end of the year, hopefully to my target of $7,300, which I'm really, really excited about here. So, yeah.
All right, so end of year target around 7,300. I'm going to ask you about ETH in a second of whether or not you'd buy around this $3,000 mark right now. But before I do that, I want to play a clip from Tom Lee because he's talking about treasury stocks versus ETH ETFs. Listen in.
When someone buys an Ethereum ETF, they're buying a single unit of Ethereum. And for as long as they hold that ETF, that amount of quantity of Ethereum is going to be basically fixed. Whereas an Ethereum treasury stock actually has a lot more optionality to increase the Ethereum held per share.
Fascinating. Or even, I would say, probably than buying Ethereum directly.
Correct, that's right. You're letting an entity then try to help you acquire more Ethereum. And again, as these Ethereum treasury strategies get to become large parts of the Ethereum network, they're actually helping the ecosystem. I think Ethereum has a Wall Street put because as the Goldmans and the JP Morgans want to be big in the stablecoin market, they're also going to want to make sure that the underlying layer one is super secure So as a public chain, they're going to want to own a large stake in Ethereum. So the Ethereum treasury strategies have what I call a Wall Street put, because they're basically moving in front of what Wall Street probably ends up doing.
All right, so a couple of points within that you have to look at, and when he's talking about the ETFs versus these Wall Street stocks that are essentially treasuries out there, you look at SBET right here. This is one with Joseph Lubin. With that being the case, I want to throw a curveball at you. Pull up the SBET chart and apply your tools onto that chart and tell me what you think could happen here.
So right now, I think you got a good shot of probably continuing forward and getting back to this pocket between 38 to 47 right here. That could be kind of your high for the month or high for August. Then you may see a rejection, a little bit of fear, something like this. And then hopefully into the end of the year and all that, you can potentially get to that 87. I mean, it's tough to say because there's so much volatility. I would say, the next big point, if you can break above this high at 125, would be 200. But, from where you are right now, that's 600%. I mean, it's not impossible to do that much, but keep in mind that it's like the best case scenario. It is speculative, but yeah, if you want to use leverage, have at it. You could use leverage and buy ETH on your own and kind of replicate what they're doing here as well. So just keep that in mind.
You got to look at SharpLink Gaming. They announced that they entered into an agreement with the ETH Foundation. Basically, this was to purchase another 10,000 ETH, so another 25 mil right there. And they did it on chain, so on the mainnet. So that's good for validators, obviously for those earning fees. So it's good to support the ecosystem the way that they did it. Solana. These revenues are making me thirsty. Toli's in here kind of, sopping it up a little bit. Solana surpasses Ethereum and Tron on revenue in Q2, which is good for Sol, which is why it's really moving well on the chart. For Solana right now, what is your opinion? Do you like this one to stop in this 160 range, or do you think we're going to skyrocket into 200?
So, yeah, we should keep going at least a little bit more. Let's take a look at Solana right here. So, yeah, 160. The next big place is going to be 188. You got your money flow looking pretty good. I think it's a pretty done deal for 188 by the end of the month. You could even get, if you follow this trajectory upward, best case scenario into August would be maybe that 240 all the way up to 265. So potentially you could see a lot. There's a lot of coins that really could jump up quicker than many may think. So by mid-August, the high point I could think 250, 260. I would guess you'd see a little retracement, something from there, bit of a rejection from there, and then into your end of year or something. Hopefully 400. My high point remains at 650, but that's to be seen. The goal is 400 for the end of the year. Major target would be 400.
So 400 by end of year. If you look at the Bitcoin Solana chart, it seems to be painting out. Let's say, Sol BTC starting to trend up right here. Do you think this holds right now, the way it looks based on what you're seeing on Bitcoin?
I think it probably holds. I think Solana should outperform Bitcoin. I think that Solana can bleed a bit against Ethereum, though, for the next few months. Tough to say, though. But I think most good alts will outperform Bitcoin, but most good alts will still underperform Ethereum for the next few months, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about another alt, and that is Avalanche. Avalanche had some L1 growth, just a little bit of a slip right here that seems to be moving, but active addresses are going up significantly. What does that look like on your chart? I know Avalanche has been one of those that has been lagging a bit in terms of performance. I know you're a big AVAX fan, so tell me.
It looks like it should, with cautious optimism, recover right here. So here's one of the potential trades that I like, 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio. If you get a stop loss around $15, that would be a pretty good place, because if you break upward from this area, this double bottom area, and we made a higher low, which is good, then your target is at $42. You can hit that sometime, maybe even in September, October. I think September's going to be more of the bearish month, but probably October getting up to that point, and hopefully into the end of this month or early August, getting back up to $32, which would be pretty good. The main trajectory I think you would do into the end of the year is hopefully $62. If all goes well, hopefully you can get up to that $100 mark and get a 5x. It's not impossible to go higher than that, but unfortunately, I kind of don't think we're going to make a new all-time high for this year, but we can get up to somewhere between 60 to 100. So, yeah.
Well, a few things happening there with the ecosystem. One, of course, is the Black Hole DEX launched. This is out there, which is running and in the ecosystem for Avalanche. So that could also drive some activity around it. And I think when you look at AVAX in general, they have, I don't know, I'm not saying they've lost their way, but I haven't seen the amount of releases of new partnerships, just a lot of new innovation. They used to be a news engine of just deals and deals and deals coming in. Maybe they got some stuff brewing that could be percolating here soon, and I hope so for them. I want to get in, when you look at right now, if you're playing blue chip alts, we've looked at Ethereum, Solana, and Avalanche. Let's just use those as an example. Which one would you play right now? Because there's a lot of people that have not invested in crypto yet, and now they're starting to think about it. Of those three, let's take a $10,000 portfolio and divvy that out. What would you do?
Right now, I think you want to go probably 70% ETH and then 15-15 on Solana, AVAX. I think that's good. I think ETH will outperform both of them for a few more months, but then both of them will probably outperform ETH in Q4. So
Q4. There you go, guys. That's kind of a rundown for you. Hopefully, this is going to give you guys some insights of how to trade these markets and look for updates. Don't forget to hit Evan's channel on your way out. Again, just Evan Aldo over on YouTube right there. It was good seeing you. Yep. Thanks again for stopping in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, Paul. Always an honor.
You bet. All right, you guys, if you're not in the Diamond Circle, get in right now. It's a free thing that you can do here on our channel. And also make sure and subscribe to the channel, because this is something that we like, is to let us know that you like to watch the show itself. But if you haven't hit the bell, also when you subscribe, we do live shows as well. When those go live, it'll give you a notification. So that's one reason to do that as well. Follow me on X, @Paul Barron, and I'll catch you next time right here on The Paul Barron Show.